In today's video, you're going to learn how to build using the team building scientific process. By the end of this, you'll be able to use any Pokemon you want, your favorites, and then you're going to know how to structure them into a well-oiled team, no matter what the mon is, no matter what the metagame is. So if that's something you're interested in, let's get into it. Today we're going to be using mouse hold for, actually never really, I'm so gone into the competitive world that I don't even know why it has a 4. There's a 3. Like, I don't know what the difference between these are. Please break it down in the comments down below. And so we're going to be using this framework right here. Maybe asking, course curriculum, what is this? Well, this is a free team building course at the Academy HQ. The Academy HQ is where you can go and take like literal online courses on this. I'm going to be beefing it up over time. And so you'll be able to have access to not only the videos, but quizzes and an assessment that's in the background being worked on, because there are about 4 core areas that you need to have like pretty much a high proficiency in to be successful. Those are mindset, skill set, tool set, and frequency, right? Frequency just means how often you actually practice, right? Because if your mindset's right, quote unquote, your skill set's elite, your tool set, which is just your team, but your play frequency is low, then, you know, and there are subcategories within those categories. So the assessment takes care of that. That's going to be available coming soon. But for now, if you want access to this, the link is going to be in the description. It's free to take the course and you can go through, but it's going to be my template here. And so the first question, you know, when you're starting to build your team, how knowledgeable are you about the metagame that you chose? And so that's why, if you notice over the past couple of videos, it's been OU just to get reacclimated with the meta, because knowledge is the preliminary for any mental martial arts, right? If you got the book, what's it called? The Art of War, translated for competitive Pokemon players. By the way, the moon version of that, 17th will be the last day, so 3 days left to get that. If you haven't gotten that yet, that'll also be in the description. You will never be able to get it again. So yeah, so what am I trying to say? So yeah, in there it describes what mental martial arts are, and it's just like how you have physical martial arts where you use your body, and you're versus an opponent. In mental martial arts, you use your mind and you're versus abstract problems. In this case, abstract problems refer to the battles that you're going to play in the future. That's all team building is. It's battling in the past, right? Battling before the battle starts. And so you need to be knowledgeable, or else you can't perceive what you may encounter in the future, right? It's like going into what would it be like? It'd be like if you've never played a sport before, right? And you're going in there and they're saying all these terms and you're like, wait, we have to actually know what these terms mean before I could even do them, much less be good at them. So similarly, if you've never played NU or PU, because Pokemon is a game of anticipation, not prediction, you need to be able to anticipate what problem or puzzle lies ahead before you can solve it. And so need that. Then introductory class on how to do it. Okay, so what does this team want to achieve, right? I want to use a mouse hole and sweep things. So population bomb, I think bite is the common secondary move. We're going to be using technician, encore is common. What's it, low kick? I guess low kick, right, for them pesky gambits. I think tidy up is man. That's usually the common set. You know, I probably could scrap encore for low kick in the case of Gargs. In the case of Garganicles and things of that nature. You could even make it Terrafire for them pesky Moltres, but that's going to get to the final step and you're going to see what we're talking about. So where a lot of people go wrong in the team building, right? You're a perfectionist. You want it to be so perfectly crafted. but that's not where teams are built. Teams are built on the ladder. Teams are built in the battle, and you'll see what I mean, or you can just go to the course for yourself. So, you know, so what does team want to achieve? We already established that. So sometimes I won't go into ultra detail with this. I'll just do it more verbally. This means this could be, I'm saying, well, it's a rain team. So that's a style of play. Well, that's more of a style of team. Weather team, right? It's a style of team. Style of play would be more balanced offense style. It's a style of play, style of a team. Or you can build around a specific mod, or you can build around a specific set, or you can build around a specific core. It's irrelevant what the goal is. You just have to know it ahead of time, because if you're trying to get to New York and you're leaving from Texas, right? Actually, if you're leaving from Texas but you don't know where you're going, you'll never leave. Right, because there's no destination. There's nothing to put in the GPS of your mind to go say turn left, turn right. So it's the most important thing. It's imperative. I try to say two things at once. The most important thing to do whenever you're doing anything is to know where you're attempting to go, and it is an attempt. It hits your head on the way there. And so, what are the non-negotiables? Non-negotiables usually mean, if you're building a rain team, for example, Pelipper has to be on it. So if I was building Mousehole Rain, and I said not just Mousehole, but I narrowed it down even further to Rain, these two have to be on the team. So I'm actually only working with 4 slots, right? This is a mistake that's often made. If you're building a Sun team, the Sun slot is non-negotiable. So you're actually building a team of 5 members, not 6. Now you're going to incorporate and have the Pelipper have a role, obviously, and you know, with the synergy and the harmony. And I don't think I described that here. That's in the course itself. So if you want to know what the difference between synergy and harmony is, and any questions you have, leave them down there. And if you've gone through it, please comment down below. That way other people can see, like, oh dang, this is good, or this could be improved. And, you know, it's whatever. So so yeah, we're not building Mousehole Rain, but my point is that the non-negotiables give you a realistic idea of what you're working with. Right, back in the day, you may have a Mega Evolution, right? And you're saying I'm using Mega Scizor. So non-negotiable in that case, because you could only use 1 Mega Evolution per team, is you already have your Mega slot, and you already have the mon you're building the team around. So that took up 2 slots, but that would be a non-negotiable, right? On this team, the only non-negotiable I have is probably Magnezone. I'm gonna likely use a Magnezone on this. Magnezone and Mousehole, because we're gonna get into why Magnezone is non-negotiable and why it's there in a moment. So those two. So I'm really working with 4 slots, right? And that's important to note. Then after the non-negotiables, notice it doesn't say. Again, in there it kind of goes over it a bit more, but it says start badly, right? Now this is a written part. When you see those little things, it means it was written. Start badly means the structure of the first part should not be ultra like, oh my god, what's the perfect mon to add next, right? That's where a lot of the frustration and the fun dies down, because it's like, I need to squeeze the juices. No, it's actually about starting badly. It's very rare the initial version of the team you have, theoretically, especially if you're not that great of a player, is going to be the final version. But if you think the initial version should be very close to the final version, when you take it out to the ladder, you get clapped, probably partly because of your skills and because of your team building skills. Issue is that now you have a false assumption, right? The assumption is that a good builder's team works the first time they use it, or it only needs a few tweaks, but that's not how it works. Like Storm Zone, for example, shout outs to him, he won this year's OST. Funnily enough, for many of you guys who were like, mindset is da 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 da, Storm messaged me a little before the finals of that. And a very exercise that I've shared for free on this channel, I don't even know if that video has 1,000 views, is what he did to 2-0 the opponent. And you know, I don't ever talk about this stuff, but many of the tour players that are present on Smogon before their games would message me for years, right? But I'm not like, hey man, I'm like, that's not the point, right? These are people that I've watched go through the ranks and, you know, help behind the scenes, been there, done that, right? And so when I put these videos out, they're like, yeah, Jam, you know, blah blah blah. I always chuckle because I'm like, there's a reason there's a 1% in everything, right? But that's besides the point. The 1% are willing to do what the others aren't. So what are my potential roadblocks? So if my non-negotiables are already discussed, then at this point, since tidy up is both at this point it could be like, okay, well, what are my potential roadblocks from mouse hold? So since it's being built around mouse hold, and that's going to explain why the magnet zone is there, you're going to go through the tier and say, okay, when mouse hold clicks population bomb, or when mouse hold sets up and clicks population bomb, what are the likeliest roadblocks, right? Smola, no, not really. Cinderace gets clapped, Clef gets clapped, Corviknight is a roadblock. Aha, right? Darkrai gets clapped, Deoxyspeed gets clapped, Dondozo is a roadblock. Dragapult probably gets crunched. Dragonite's E-Speed could be an issue. These oftentimes will run Terra Ghost. I'll determine whether or not Terra Ghost is what I want to use. Terra Ghost has a place. It could be Terra Ghost, it could be Terra Steel. Terra Steel obviously allows that if Gambit tries to Sucker Punch spam, depending on the situation you're in, you can actually survive. Terra Fire prevents Moltres from burning. And then they usually run Wide Lens to ensure that these pop bombs, because a pop bomb, you need to hit them all. If you miss, you're screwed. But you know, when you're dealing with things like Moltres and Zapdos, you're like, but you'd have to go in there knowing ahead of time what you're working with. So but we're gonna go back to what are the potential roadblocks. So Dozo Organical, the roadblock, right? Which is why we said, you know, there's a case for low kick. We'd have to run some calcs on that. Iron Crown, to some extent, is not really an offensive threat. I mean, a defensive roadblock. Moltres is a roadblock for sure. But roadblock in the sense that you're almost guaranteed gonna get burnt pop bombing that many times. And as you know, burn halves your attack, which means mouse hold at that point is effectively useless. Terra Steel would allow Rillaboom. You'd be able to Terra Steel and Terra Fire would help you not be able to get grassy glid by Rillaboom. So as you notice, it's primarily the steel types. And you know, Terra Ghost allows you to take on Body Press, Amazenta. So it's really just based on the teammates afterwards, and then you construct your Terra type based upon the direction you went with your team. So to keep this simple, because as I said, the team is not built in the builders. Well, the team is built in the builder, but it's not completed in the builder. It's completed on the ladder. And so the Magnet Zone will solve the Corviknight issue. It'll help with the Gambit issue. So if I'm solving the potential Corviknight and the potential Gambit issue, then me being Terra Ghost matters a little less. Because, you know, more so in the case of Gambit, though Gambit Sucker, falling a million is gonna kill you anyway, but Gambit's usually very reluctant to Sucker because of Encore. Because if you tidy up any suckers in your Encore, they're getting swept. So, you know, or very close to getting swept. So people are very reluctant to do that anyway. But yeah, we're going to see if we can make Mouse Hole get some work in here. It doesn't necessarily have to sweep, but you want to make sure that it's getting the most value, or you're getting the most value out of it per game, right? So the team structure is there. Is the teams flowing with each other? Is it are the members coming in easily, right? And so we paired Magnezone here. We're gonna make this. I'm not gonna at this point is like, okay, well, what set to use? You can actually just, especially if you're new to building, just make a simplistic, a very simplistic Smogon suggested set. I believe they even have things like that now. There's Magnezone. There might be some kind of suggested set somewhere on the builder or something like that. I rarely ever build these days, but back in my tour days, those iconic teams that people use as steel teams all the time. This was the process, but I use pen to paper a lot. I may teach that pen to paper process at some point if there's high enough demand for it. And you don't have to only go in the OU tier to look for potential mons to use on the team. It's whatever solves the problem. Right, so Magnezone, the reason I'm going AV is one, it's useful. And I'll scan through the tier in a bit, but I want to be able to body press in particular for those Gambinos, right? So one Gambit is something that's trappable, and so what we're gonna also use is something called a Dragapult, this cool little dragon ghost mon. Dragapult learns this move called U-turn, which is useful. The reason it's useful is that Dragapult, being ghost type, tends to lure in dark types, right? Dark or normal types. One of those dark types is commonly called King Gambit. It also lures in steel types and fairy types. You can see the synergetics with Volt Switch and U-turn here, primarily to encourage the Gambit to not come in. Right, you can shot a ball away a little more freely because of the risk of U-turn. Now, what set we're going to be using, I'm not sure yet. We're just going to put for synergy sake. You can go about this. It's usually probably best to do a rough draft badly of just the members and then put in the sets, because, you know, if I decide the Magnezone set early, there's pretty much, Magnezone is not used for the most part. There are only so many sets that this is going to have the option to have. It's not like back in the day with Ferrothorn and such. So the set isn't as complicated. Maybe the spread a little bit, but the set in and of itself, Mouse Hole always has the same set. Let's say something a little more versatile than like Pull, which could go Specs, which could go Band, which could go Wisp. We'd see based on the team which one is best, right? And another cool thing is Mouse Hole, you could even support Pull, you know, Tidy Up, crushing Gargi with the potential low kick if we decided to run that. All that, get the idea. So we got the Pultinator here, right? And so it's like, okay, well, there are a couple ways. I won't go into. I'll make this team a little more on the offensive side. Might be a semi-balanced, but it's going to be a little more on the offensive side. So we're gonna throw Great Tusk here because what's a team without a Great Tusk? No, that's not really the reason. Because I'm debating Great Tusk here's primary. Mouse Hole's primary purpose is not hazard control, even though Tidy Up can't do so. Tidy Up is really just about setting up, right? It's really just about setting up. But you don't want it to be overwhelmed with hazards, and it needs to have setup opportunity. And so that's another level of analysis, but we're gonna go for, again, just throwing in the slots just to give a general structure and then mold it after the fact. And so if we're like, okay, well, what are some setup opportunities and what are some other things that Mouse Hole struggles with? If a lot of the things that Mouse Hole struggles with actually are flying types, right? The Zapdos, the Corviknights, the Moltres, Vice Core to a lesser extent, or steel types, Landos with their rocky helmets, things of that nature, right? So its spikes aren't as useful for Mousehold success, right? It's nice, but it's not anything that's allowing you to pick up any KOs that you wouldn't usually. Dondozo, you know, things of that nature. So we're not gonna over index on spikes, but we do need to figure out, okay, well, what are we gonna do about these pesky Moltres, right? We've dealt with the Gambit and the Corviknight potential, but what about Moltres, Zapdos? Like, how do we deal with those? We could deal with those in a couple ways. We could deal with it in the form of the Terra type. You're not gonna ever use Terra Electric, but Terra Fire has its merit to cover for Moltres and to cover for a potential Grassy Glide Rillaboom, so that you resist that and you can, you know, pretty much put them in the dirt. It also helps with a rare case Goldengo setup, because Goldengo is gonna always make it rain on Mossol, obviously. And you know, it could give you a potential setup opportunity. But it's mostly for Moltres. Zapdos, you're pretty much always gonna get paralyzed with Zapdos, so you'd want to overwhelm it with something else, or you just say, okay, I'm gonna use Mousehold to remove Zapdos for something else, because Zapdos is still gonna likely die to the Pop Bomb, but it's just likely gonna paralyze you. That's all. Whereas Moltres burns you and doesn't die. So Moltres is just, it's your Mousehold is trash and it lives. You get, I guess that's not the wave. Okay, so we have Great Tusk, Kyurem's back, and so it would be like, okay, well, even beyond that point, because you want to always have certain key roles like rocks, you know, your rock user, depending on the objective, you want to have your hazard control. You know, people will people will say things like speed control, and, you know, not always. All that stuff, the team is one big problem solving engine. If it can solve the problem, like let's say Mousehold is here, and I have a really slow team. I may struggle with a particular mon, but you're always going to struggle with any particular mon. There's no team that covers for everything perfectly. But it's a matter of when you encounter said problem, is it something that no matter what you do, you can't solve? Now then that's a problem. Like, no matter what, you always lose. If you see a Goldengo, you just lose. Unless the opponent plays poorly, which means your win condition is the opponent's mistake, meaning your win is in the opponent's hands, which you never want. Right? You don't want to show up to a battle begging for mercy. That's weak. So you want to go in there from the team builder going, okay, I want to make sure I have a fighting chance and the battle is on me. So what are some interesting things that are potentials here? Let's try quite a few fun things here. I'm trying to think, how can we semi-deal with the Moltres issue? I might solve it with terrestrialization, but it would mean that you're always going to terror your Mousehold. Alternatively, you could use the bait, the overwhelm principle. Again, this is all in the thing, so I'm not going to go too much into every principle, especially if I'm not going to use it. Interestingly enough, you could, since this Great Tusk, I could rocks on something else. This is another alternative. Does Great Tusk get Stone Edge? Yeah, it does. This is another alternative to cover for if you wanted to go like, say, Terra Ghost. You're like, okay, now I want Terra Ghost, so I take no damage from Dragonite. It's extreme speed. I don't have to be concerned about that at all, and I can have a way better situation versus Zenta. If that's the case, then since you wouldn't need stealth rocks to necessarily be on Great Tusk. You could opt for Headlong Rush, Stone Edge, Ice Spinner Bait. What this does is it allows you to clap Zapdos, because these Tusks are max speed these days. It allows you to clap Zapdos and Moltres, but just remove it so that the Mousehold can prevail, and it's not too gimmicky to where it has no function outside of that. Stone Edge Great Tusk is uncommon, but that slot is usually rocks or bulk up or space. It's not really like, okay, a rule of thumb slot. It also allows you to hit, you know, some more randoms like, you know, Pelipper, and you know, it's actually functionally solid. I've seen people run that, what what's it called, the heat one, heat prep, was it temper heat or something like that, or Supercell Slam, right? But we try not to do too many gimmicks. All this does is it means that Great Tusk is way more problematic than the opponent bargained for. And so if you were to run Stone Edge, you know you're trying to lure in Zapdos and Moltres with a false sense of security and blow them out of the water. Right? But you'd have to know, okay, well, since that's the case, I'm gonna have somebody else take the responsibility of the hazard, right? You could opt for, say, Glamora. Glamora is very useful for, you know, more offensive builds. Also, for builds that want the T-Spike up, it's like, okay, not to say I'm going to use Glamora here, but it doesn't matter what you put in the slot. The thing with these team builders is that I'm partly talking to the dude who's been building for 25 years, and I'm talking to the guy that's never built a team before. And so that's partly why that course exists, so that it can double for both. So you don't have to go like, damn, I don't understand this part. One, you can comment and I'll answer it, but also it takes a lot of the weight off me when you can just go through yourself, you know, at your own pace, at your leisure. And all I have to do is just direct you there with the link. So that's something that's free for you to access. But you know, Glamora would be an option. You could even go below, right? Pause and start using less common. I love that one team that implemented Keldeo, Tinkaton. You see really cool, you know, Sandy. I haven't seen Sandy Shocks in forever. What's the Medicinisha? You see those cool UU mons, excuse me, having solid usage. So don't be bounded as long as it solves the problem, bro. If you need some rocks and said mon can solve said problem, then go for it, bro. So what we're gonna do is just fill out the slots here, and then I'm gonna go, because Lando is also another thing that could potentially blow Moltres out the water. But Moltres is far more likely to come in on Tusk than Lando, because Lando's Stone Edge is a little more expected. Tusk is almost never the case. And a lot of times people's Tusk checks are Zapdos and Moltres. So Tusk is a lot more problematic than you think, especially with a zone. This one of the Tusk checks are generally flying types. Like, look at the tier. Either a Lando, Ice Spinner blows him away, Gliscor, Ice Spinner blows him away, Moltres. And so Tusk, people just use it for rapid spin, but that boy's no joke. So what I'm gonna do is think about something else that Magnezone really benefits, right? So Magnezone benefits the Mousehold, but what else struggles with Corviknight, for example? Like, I might opt for like a Dragonite, right? I'm like, okay, Dragonite as a potential option. That's assuming that the Glamora stays and all that. And I'm just giving examples. I'll probably pause and actually just look through the team and whatnot and see what works. I could opt for Roaring Moon. I could say, okay, well, I'm gonna go to something less common. Iron Boulder, I've never seen that really used. I could opt for some cool things that I just never see that would benefit from that. Latios. Drag mag again. We could revamp drag mag. Why don't I ever see Latios? Maybe Gold Ingo. Cornerstone. Cornerstone could be cool. Okay. But all right. So that, let's say you were to have some like just general structure, right? Now there are ways you can go about it where, you know, you're more considerate of, do I have a fairy resist? Do I have a water resist? Do I? That's a bit more nuanced, and it'll depend on, you know, the style of team it is. If it's offense by its nature, your typings matter less in terms of the defensive typing. You may have your water resist might be Great Tusk, right? But if your team structure is set in a way where you can overwhelm your opponent and defeat them before they defeat you, well, it doesn't really matter now, does it? Because at the end of the day, it's who wins. So that's a little more nuanced. Now, again, for beginners, I do recommend like learning the type synergies and then, you know, breaking the rules once you learn them. And so I'm gonna make this team a bit more at the base level of understanding, and then work our way up from a type standpoint. So we have this offensive trio is cool. I'm gonna make this again very simple, and I recommend keeping it set. Like, one thing I see beginners do all the time is they try to make these really intricate sets, and they haven't won any games with their teams. They're not very successful with team building. So it's like, don't have your Dragapult be 42 EVs in defense for some arbitrary scenario if the standard is blank, right? Rule of thumb, use the standard, then break the rules after observing and adapting. So if you notice here, just max attack, mouse all, nothing fancy, right? That boy's jolly. I don't even know what they run, but defense might be useful. I'm gonna make it Terra Ghost because we're rocking that Stone Edge Great Tusk here, right? Usually because this helps me avoid Dragonite and Zamazenta a bit more easily, and Terrify it, you know, Rillaboom's a little more annoying, but actually maybe Terra Steel would be better. Terra Steel would make me still Zamazenta-able. I don't know. I thought about Terra Steel because it protects me from E-Speed, but there was something that just made me think of Grassy Glide and E-Speed. It would also allow me to be for Slowking Galar, to be super setup fodder. But I think I'd rather be immune to Zenta's body press, though a lot of them run Roar these days. This is a little more of a technical calculus. You want the body press to smash Gambit, but and then the Terra type on Magnezone is a little more effective. Whenever it specs Pulse, since Shadow Ball is going to be the most spammable, I usually go Ghost, but you can, you know, run Fairy if you want to. The Terra type's a little more nuanced to the team. I think over time, as I shape my own team building rust, because again, it's been a long time since I've even tried to build. So as I shape my team building rust, in addition to just reacclimating to, I'm still reacclimating to the metagame, you know, all things considered. But I'm not at the point where I can't build at all. I can look through the tier and I can go, Primarina tends to run this and this and that, you know. But since the central figure is one thing that I am thinking about is pesky ass Dozo, but Dozo doesn't switch well into Pop Bomb either if it's not careful. So that's why I'm not as like, it's not something that switches well into Pop Bomb. The others could. Dozo is gonna have to keep resting, which means that boy's gonna be asleep all game. Let's go a little further to see if there's anything cooler mons. What does even what the Ogrepon cornerstone? What even stops that monster? When I click that Cudgel of the Ivy, it's usually gonna look like Denta, Corviknight. Goldengo is another mon you want to weaken. Dingo is a pest. So I'm also thinking about a few other things. I'm thinking about potentially adding our own Moltres here. Covers for a lot of potential weaknesses and allows for, because if you notice this, because this team depends so much on getting Mousehole, another thing, Mousehole is something that doesn't get in for free very easily. Like, he's never switching in on things, so it's a mon that functions in a way where it needs the opportunity to set up. You could do that in a multitude of ways. You could do that where you're setting up screens. That's another way Poke could be used. If Mousehole was the type of mon that could just blow through a team, then screens would be useful to give it the setup opportunity. But Mousehole typically functions on the, okay, so you're gonna let me encore you, and once I encore you, your goose is cooked. That's gonna be the setup opportunity. Or something doesn't want to take a pop bomb, and it's like, yeah. So Will-O-Wisp, Roar, I think people are running Roar on this now. I don't know. I can see Roar being a thing for Zamazenta for sure. If, because you know they like to run Terrafire now. I like Will-O-Wisp for Gambit. But you could also say, screw it, I'm not gonna use U-turn and run Roar. We'll see what we run into. But Will-O-Wisp is really good for Gambit, D-Knights. Really, Roaring Moon, those really pesky physical setup sweepers, or Ogrepon if he's feeling, you know, jiggy, or Hawlucha. Roars, but you know, you can roar those, and then you can have them touch the Moltres and whatnot. But I like having a little more control over the situation than just roaring. But if it's one of those things where it's like it's coming up often enough, and if your team is particularly Zenta weak, then certainly a case for that. So much potential here. What's another cool thing? I also tried to run, what's Zamazenta's? What's Zamazenta usually struggles with? I don't think Zenta really struggles with things that Zone would help with. I'm gonna make this a little more. I'm probably gonna try the Ogrepon, or maybe I'll do Wellspring instead to mitigate the water weakness a little bit, or something cooler like Keldeo, or even maybe the Ogrepon Grass. Ogrepon Grass would thrive, especially because it gets speed boosts outright. And Zapdos and Moltres get bait by Grey Tusk. And it removes steel types, but the thing with Ogrepon Grass is just that it maybe Ogrepon Grass could SD Ogrepon Grass with knockoff and Power Whip. Maybe knockoff Power Whip, play rough. Great attacks, no encore. I could see that being good. I could see that being very problematic. And terrestrialize. And it will give a bit of speed. I could see that being useful. But as I said, this is it's more when you hit the field. You know, it's been 40 minutes and I haven't even started playing yet. Team building is one of those processes that can go. Because this is a video, I wanted to give it a bit more time but at the same time I can't give it as much time as it probably would. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make these very standard basic, nothing crazy. I want the zone to be faster than Corviknight, so it can't U-turn out. You're gonna put it probably, I think, I put it above 200, so even max speed Gambit gets clapped. Special attack stat is useful, but it's not the end of the world. And part of the reasons why, because it's body press. We'd run some calcs on body press. So this is in this case, you'd be a little more calc focused because you need to know what range you need for Gambit. So in this case, you would do something like go to the calc, and you could look for offensive version. In this case, you'd probably look for the bulkiest one, which is usually just max HP. No Gambit's running defense typically. Then you'd go to Magnezone. You could go about this in a couple different ways. You could make it run Terra Fighting, which would make the body press stronger for Gambit, and maybe even something else. I'd have to look at the actual thing. But yeah, Magnezone, RU Assault Vest, Discharge, Body Press. With no defense investment, Body Press does 84 to 99 to no HP Gambit. So you don't need, that's U-turn damage plus body press, and that Gambit's out of the way. But let's say it's 252, then you're doing a minimum of 71%. Now this is without it being bold. So if we move it to bold, that goes up 7%. So you don't need a lot of damage. Really just need probably rocks or the U-turn damage, and you KO it with max HP. You don't need a ton of investment. I guess maybe 44. Like for you to guarantee kill, I'm pretty sure you need to be like even max doesn't KO, so it's not even worth that much investment. Maybe, let me see, 81%, 36, 32. Yeah, maybe 32. That'll give you 80% on a max HP variant, and on a no HP variant, that'll almost guarantee a KO. So what? 68% chance, then you're likely gonna have some kind of rocks or U-turn damage. Usually Gambit's not coming in just straight up. It's usually gonna be switching in on Dragapult. And so you don't need a ton of defense investment. You just need enough. You probably could use some HP, to be fair. Since it's AV, it has utility that goes beyond just trapping Gambit. I'm not gonna use a ton of time I'm just gonna give it a general number. I probably need to run a calc to see like what KOs I need. So for example, you know, for this Magnezone variant, you may have a Corviknight and say, okay, well, how much damage would you need on Corviknight if it's Fizz Def for Thunderbolt to discharge? Maybe people run discharge. I'm a 1000. What the hell is this? Is that a Z move? I don't even remember that. Thunderbolt. Okay. So with 2.0, that's a lot of SPDEF, and since it's AV, you can run some SPDEF investment. But again, I'm gonna keep it simple here. I'm not gonna have a bunch of stuff. And if we go through a situation where the Terra Fighting has, I could change it body press, which would be useful for Gambit matchups. I don't know if it'd be useful for anything else to be a fighting type. Perhaps Roaring Moon. But if the case is just to not be sucker punchable, I'd say Fairy is just a little bit better. Doesn't really help with its natural weaknesses beyond fighting. Like if it's gonna get a fighting move used upon it. But what you don't want is for the Gambit to SD up and then you have nothing. And this covers for most of Gambit's common terrors, which would be like Fairy, Dark, If it Terra Darks, it would be an issue. You know, then, you know, but again, Sucker Punch being used, you can Encore Mosshold, and you'll have the Will-O-Wisp option. Ogre Pawn Cornerstone doesn't have the speed boost, and it can be intimidated and all that fun stuff, but yeah, I'd say I'd want something instead of Cornerstone that's a little more useful for our Goldango matchup. Something a little cooler. Because Goldango definitely would be a pain in the ass. I'm thinking what would be something good, but not have us being Goldango fodder. Quite a few options. I haven't seen a Weavile in quite some time. Not like that's solving the Goldango problem, but just when I think about it, I haven't seen a Weavile in quite some time. Zarude. Zarude wasn't so slow. A cool mon that would benefit. You know, it's also a cool thing. Zoroark. Zoroark doesn't get enough love for how nifty that thing could be. I'm also contemplating where then this Gambit is good too. Whether or not I'd use just a Gambit on this, because Gambit loves Corviknight being gone as well because of the body per spam, and it loves opposing Gambits being gone as well. Loves opposing Gambits being gone. Gonna put a King Gambit on here. Gambit. Supreme Overlord. Could make it long. But since we're using make it leftover, since we're using make it faster than Corby in case that matchup has to happen. Since we're using why is it naturally minus attack? Since we're using Stone Edge Tusk, you don't have to worry about the status as much. We're gonna make it just standard. Ironhead. I'll make this Terra. What? Terra would be good. Like, this is the last time I saw Terra Fairy. Terra Fire is usually there for the burners. Terra Fairy, let's just make it Fairy. It's a nice neutral Terra type. It's very hard to deal with. Molly, I don't even know what the standard is here, but for sake of time, so again, rule of thumb here, you'd actually like look through what the standards are and things of that nature. I'm not going to. It's probably useful for this to be very split up because of the pest, since I'm rocking Will-O-Wisp and the pest that is Goldango that exists, and it still has enough defense, because I don't want to be switching Gambit a ton on Goldango, but I want to also have something that can come in comfortably, likely on Polt as well. And Terra Fairy, Terra Steel, Stone Fairy, Body Press, Tidy Up. What Terra types is Moltres? I don't even know. I'm gonna just rock grass here. Water seems to be something that might make sense. Fairy. But yeah, usually you'd use more metagame knowledge for this. But as I said, so going back to the profile here, start badly. What are your roadblocks? We talked about them. What might solve them? That's what we were doing. And what's a bad first draft? So that's where we are now. What's a bad first draft? Because what will happen is if you try to solve for too much in the builder itself, there are a lot of things you're going to theorize. Unless you really play a lot and you really build a lot, then the answers will come. But you also have to be building a lot, playing a lot, and be at a decently high level. If you're building a lot but you're in the 1400s, that means you can't tell whether it's your skill or your team. So usually when people are in the 1400s or that, I recommend them using a team that's already been tested, because that's going to help them learn how to build over time. Because now you just need to improve your skill so that you know, okay, well, you know, with a tested team, I'm around the 1700 range. With my own team, I'm in the 1400s, so you know, okay, well, it's a team issue versus, but I understand you want to build your own team, so this is why this is here. It's a mouse hold. And so we're gonna mouse hold. Why is there not a U here? This seems like something that should have a U. So call this mouse hold offense. Right. Water resists aren't the best, but since it's more of a get at them type of style of team, I might be able to get away with it. Might not be able to. And if I'm not able to, then, you know, that's where we say we'll figure it out as we go. We're gonna use my academy teams account because it's decently high, and so we probably decayed a ton. I'm right above 1800, so I lost like 50 points in decay, somewhere around there. And so let's say, okay, if Mousehole clicks population bomb, Garganic is his core switching, right? If I know I have low kick, I wonder what the role on low kick would have been versus Garg. So did I import the team? Okay. So let's go about this. So Mousehole clicking pop bomb Garg is the key. But if I beat down his Garganical, then Dragapult does well. Garg is a huge nuisance for this team for sure. But if it terras, then not so much. So one immediate opening I see on his team is no dragon resist. So when I click Draco Meteor, he either loses a mana or he has to go to Garg. So no dragon resist. So Specs Dragapult is gnarly. Magnezone doesn't really have anything to trap, so decently low value, but it's useful for the Assault Vest to switch in on Dragapult if needs be, but not as great. Great Tusk doesn't have any much to Stone Edge here, but he also doesn't have any much to switch in on this young Headlong Rush. The Great Tusk could sweep this guy potentially, depending on if he gives up those and how healthy his Tusk is. My Moltres shuts down Cinderace, Great Tusk, maybe Pult, depending on the variant. That Fickle Beam thing is quite annoying, so I have to be mindful of it. King Gambit can smash his team later on. You just have to see. And so the key here is you can ensure the success of your attack if you only attack positions that cannot be defended. And in this case, it's definitely looking like Dragapult, and he has nothing to guard against it. So I wouldn't be shocked to see a Pult off rip, but I can cover for his dragon move, whereas he can't. And he's definitely gonna risk this speed time, because what is he gonna do? But we already established that Moltres is low, so he goes hard Garganical, which implies that this Garg is max Spadef, which means it's not gonna switch into Mousehole as easily. I could Volt Switch here, but if he leaves it in as he does, that would be great. Excellent. That's excellent. Okay, so it's Protect, max Spadef. I actually forgot to put rocks on the team because of the I knew I was forgetting something, so we need to alter it to account for rocks. Need to alter account for rocks. But that's normal. You're gonna forget something and then go into it. Him being max the def guard, he's gonna heal here. So what we're gonna do is abuse the mouse hole situation. As I said, mouse hole is one of those mons that really takes advantage of the recover turn. His guard being max for F is an issue, and the fact that I don't have rocks. So what I'll end up doing here, I'm gonna encore anyway. So he's used 2 recovers. His Dragapult is a potential option. I'd lose too much value if he were to go hard Dondozo or Pult. So I'm gonna population bomb them immediately. As you can see, Dondozo doesn't take it well. And that's gonna be really key for my Great Tusk and my King Gambit, as we're gonna see later on. So we're gonna end up doing this population bombing once again as he opts for Garganical. This allows for us to population bomb once again. You see, he does not take it well. And so if he opts for Salt Cure, then I can encore him, which means that he has no Draco Meteor switching. So it stacks up fast, but I can build a better team around Mouse Soul for sure. So this shit is already at, look at that, that's ridiculous. So now that he's Salt Cure, I can just encore him here, and just gives me the opportunity to really blow some people out the water. I could pop bomb again. It's very likely I'm staring down his Dragapult next. But Great Tusk is just objectively the best play, yeah. And now I need to put myself in a position where I can go for it. You can see if I had rocks here, this game was over. But I have to put myself in a position where the Garganical doesn't get to heal, right? The Great Tusk doesn't get to heal. And so I can Draco Meteor freely. So what we're gonna do is go Magnezone here, covers for both Shadow Ball and Draco Meteor. You Fire Blast, which is a poor decision because now you give up on mine. That gives the Garg up, assuming we connect, which is great. So Garg is something I don't have to be concerned about, which means I can tidy up / population bomb freely. This thing is annoying for sure. Let me see. Moltres, Moltres cooks almost everything left. He's gonna go for that Fickle Beam move. Gambit's mid. I'm willing to Gambino here, especially Fallen 1, Terra Steals. He gets the maximal hit on the Fickle Beam. I think that might be Specs. Well, Fickle Beam with the boost is one. That's just a really powerful move. I'm actually really glad that he terrestrialized there, because what this does is allows for me to pivot into the Moltres here. And he's terrestrial. This thing gets regen, he's gonna knock me out. It also means that my Great Tusk is even more dangerous. The Earth Power is there now. I can just Will-O-Wisp freely. I mean, Flamethrower freely. It's Assault Vest. I think that's the maximal roll. You're not doing that much with 80%. I have a lot of Spidef. Earth Power. Okay. That's a bold move. Okay. 71%. I'll be fine. I'm pretty sure I eat Draco. Let me run the calc on this. This is why I should have put the calc in. But you notice we remove the now it's just removing that fucking guard. I'm really sure I'll eat Draco Meteor, but I want to roost so badly. I kind of want to 41 max HP. What's the timer? 60 seconds. Very well. But I didn't take that Gambit. Did 43 to my Gambit. Yeah, I would have eaten. It would have been close. And so now, he could double Draco, I doubt it. My best cover is Moltres. Covers for everything. I wanted to double to my Dragapult there. Astropult. super certain I eat this. Maybe not. Yeah. Out of balls, which is a misplay. You lose them on here. Maybe Hydrapple. Cinder. Surprised he opts for Cinder, because if I had I tied up there, it would have been cooked. Also the Mollies, unless he's packing Stone Edge, opts for Bolt again. The Moltres is the bane of his existence. He's trying to get rid of the young king. But what he's doing is he's freeing up the young Tusk. It's Assault Vest Hydrapple because it took nothing from my Flamethrower. What's pissing me off is I probably eat this. Dragapult. It's time to give my soul up. It's no longer necessary. Yeah. And now I roost Molly, and Molly sits. There are a couple ways I could have gone about this, to be fair. Quite a few ways I could have gone about this. This allows for me to U-turn. Could run the speed tie, or I could just terrestrialize my Tusk and kill him. The Hydrapple is just the bitch situation. So the Bolt is gone, which means Molly. I don't think he can touch my Molly. So he Dozo switches, but Dozo is drag up full water. He's Wave Crash, means nothing really. The Fickle Beam Mon is just a bitch. That's the thing about it. Fickle Beam Mon is a bitch. He can't afford for me to do any damage to this, to be fair. But I can afford to U-turn because he has to Hydrapple. This is where rocks would be so key. Force the rest on Dozo. Oh yeah, also great Tusk. I don't get the Tusk play. Should definitely go Dozo there. Unless you think I'm banded or something. Excellent. So now you waste a turn cursing, which means Hydrapple has to come in here. He hasn't burned any sleep turns, which is really good. Base hit. The Shadow Ball doesn't matter on the Hydrapple matchup. What I can't have is this Dozo being in. So he's gonna Fickle Beam. There's nothing I can do. Keeps getting the roll. Okay, he doesn't get the roll for once. Plus 40% though. Which means that this thing is actually really annoying. I'm actually impressed with how annoying this is. It might be more useful to make my Moltres more Spadef for these pesky dragons, but I'd alter the team slightly anyway. Even if you were to Earth Power here, it's my best objective play. Okay. Unless he were to have gotten the roll. Earth Power there was semi-risky, but I don't think he's in a place where he's like thinking things through right now. I just okay. Fickle Beam's objectively the best player. I can What is he doing? Earth power is not even the correct play. That's the dumb, like, earth power was never the best play there. In either of those situations. Okay. I think he's just gonna stay in here, honestly. Dusk can't come in. Earth power would kill me. Why? I mean, you just opened yourself up to the pole loss. But he made some questionable plays early in the game, which is why I'm even in a position to win, to be fair. So, you know, there is that. What we're gonna do here is use my final route. Use my final roost here so that I'm always matched up excellently versus a Tusk. Excelente. Will-O-Wisp is better. Why would you rapid spin? Oh, it's Lum. You got healed twice. Okay, blessed. Yeah, he's just, I think he's just mentally giving up. His plays are stopped making sense. Let me see. Is Flamethrower the better play? Yeah, because he's cursed, probably mono wave crash, so I just need to be able to hit my Draco Meteors. Since, yeah. But I need to change the team slightly. When I need rocks, obviously. But, the Mousehole did what I expected. What I didn't account for how susceptible to Garg I'd be. Also, I forgot to ask. If you're familiar with UI design and you're familiar with Figma, shoot me a DM, please. Working on this site project. I already have somebody who's working on the back end stuff. And if you're the UI guy and you want to help out with the project, definitely shoot me a DM. Much appreciated. And the Discord link is down below. Or comment and if you can't find it, and you know, I'll get in touch with you. So this is an excellent example of real-time change. And also an excellent example of how skill will trump team in singles in particular. Yeah, but it wasn't a bad addition. I just don't have any stealth Rockies there. And I know the Tusk situation is gonna play a bigger role at a different point. What do I want to? I want something that's a little score. Score has, let's see, score. There's something else that's better somewhere else that's doper. We could see how Pull was a fucking nuisance. Who uses Empoleon? Not even actually about who uses it. That's irrelevant. But I don't want to just throw something on for meme's sake. I want to actually consider synergy. Hydrapple was actually a pretty big nuisance as well. Let me actually consider, what would Empoleon help with on it? Empoleon would help with... Would Gliscor help with Hydrapple? It's Toxic Rocks. Gliscor is actually annoying in and of itself, like Toxic Score. Toxic Score would be annoying as hell. Actually, I'm gonna try Gliscor here. Takes a lot of the firepower off of the team. Which I don't have a setup sweeper per se. Other than Mousehold. Because Gliscor is just really pesky. don't have to keep the Moltres either. But as you can see, Moltres was queen bee right there. Gambit gets rocks right, but that's an abomination that not even I can endorse. This is fun. It's been quite some time since put Deoxys work. What were we dealing with last game? I have not seen one Deoxys defense since I came back into the game. You're really that ass. Oh. I like Gambit because it gives me a form of priority. If I went Gliscor, I'd probably have to change things slightly because it's a slower mon, but it would help. It help a ton, primarily versus things like that electric beast. How do I address this without changing the core structure of the team? I know the Stone Edge is gonna pay off with the Moltres matchup. You can see how if he had Stone Edge there, it'd be a whole different situation, and people are always gonna switch their Moltres into the Great Tusk. You wipe that out very early. I could not go spin on Tusk and fix this. Spinless Tusk feels like an abomination, yeah? Which would mean if I went rocks on Tusk and make it spinless, such an offensive Tusk though. Spin is no speed boost, is crazy. And then I'd have to have to control outside of the Tusk, or no have to control at all, or slap a Hatterene on there or something like that. Something like that. Instead of a I'll end up doing. My soul does not like things like T-spikes, which is why I'm like, not having spin is crazy. I'm gonna put something else over Gambit. All my rocks options seem mid. I don't love them. Here's something like Tran. I don't love my rocks options. As far as like a final slot. I'm gonna try something a little cooler. I'm gonna try the Empoleon, just for cool's sake. It's had its role, so it's not just for cool's sake. There are key things that, while people don't really think about it, Empoleon is like top tier at. It also allowed me to get I'll probably earn this shit gets scald. Doesn't get scald. So Stealth Rock, Flip Turn. Ice Beam worth it. Roost. Does mean Garg is still a nuisance. Competitive. Let's try it. Make it boots. Make it a lot of. This isn't gonna be the final version. I can already tell that I have to edit this. But because it's so late in the live, and I said I'd emphasize team building more than anything else, I'm gonna keep going. We're gonna go, you know, that might not be relevant to anything, frankly. and then make this fairy or something like that. Yeah. Alternative, we could have went score. The turn might be ass, to be honest, especially because I'm gonna be benefiting from defog and shit like that. And the hard switch is gonna be cold. I was just thinking, how many times can we get muscle in? But one thing I must say, this team looks cool as hell. Does mean that Raging Bolt is a pain in the arse for this team. But see Empoleon rocking Roar too. Too many options here. Too many options. It's really the Tuskalore that's restricting a lot of this, because a lot of slots would get freed up. But for the sake of the principle, I'll keep going. For the sake of the principle, I will keep going. I will keep going. And while this is loading up, this is really just like a stream recorded. Bringing you, we're gonna have some chill music in the background, all that stuff. Clodsire is an option. It would help me with the body. Cloudy could work. Body could work. Maybe Cloudy. Water absorb Cloudy. Let me see. Water absorb Cloudy would help me with guard somewhat. Somewhat. It'd help me with Raging Bolt a lot. You know? Let's try this boy Clodsire. Huh? Let's try this boy Clodsire. Yeah, we're gonna run leftovers because when you terrestrialize, you know, it's a little bit. Clodsire. This pesky boy can run that young toxic. Can run that earthquake. That's what the kids are running these days. And recover. It being water absorb. I don't even know what Terra types Clodsire run. Do they even still run Max Spada? Probably. Cloudy could maybe work. Oh cool, like I see, we're facing Moltres here, which boys are getting Stone Edged in this. But if I Stone Edge him, like Mousehole just eats. Mousehole literally just. And Tinglu is one of those things as well that loves to get lured. Empoleon is great for Darkrai, great for... Empoleon is almost impossible to get removed from off the field in this matchup. Let me play this properly. So Zone's core purpose is nothing. Dragapult's core purpose is to hit them Shadow Balls. Tusk, once that Stone Edge has been hit. Moltres walls 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She don't know how he deals with Moltres, other than his own Moltres. We're gonna try to lure out this Tinglu early. He Darkrais. I'm gonna hard Empoleon. He could be like a plot version. He crits me, which is annoying. Fuck. Well, there goes that. He gets the early crit, which causes a lot of problems because my Empoleon is gone. He's max for F Moltres apparently. Fuck. My Moltres could have beat his Darkrai. My Empoleon is super good. Flamethrower. Okay. Did a roost here. Okay. Wants the Tinglu smoke. This is actually a really good position for me. This allows for me to headlong rush directly. And I'm gonna just knock the Moltres out, which opens up my Mousehole. Right. I'm annoyed by the Dark Pulse crit, but what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do when they come for So Splash Cannon's the best objective play here. Yeah, you fucking filth stain. You don't deserve to hit 2 of them shits. Are you crazy? I'm AV, so I'll probably eat. Please, so knock this boy out. So Darkrai's gone. The scum. Scourge. So Moltres shuts down Tusk. Moltres actually literally just comes in here and says, victory. I can rapid spin freely. I can population bomb. It's just great. It's just a great time. It's just a great time. It's just a good time. Good time to be alive as we can Will-O-Wisp here. And it's another game of how are you gonna force out Moltres? My favorite game. I should use Ruination here. So Molly needs to be a little healthier, and then we're gonna switch it out as Ruination misses. That's tough. And another game of no stealth rock. My Great Tusk is also just absolutely heinous as he Ruinations, and I can just go for the Tidy Up here. I actually forgot that I just have Tidy Up as an option. I actually literally just forgot Tidy Up as an option. Bite is legit. You have to make it rain though. Make it rain. Look at this. So his leftovers, which is all I needed to know at this point. Moltres cooks. Doesn't matter of how I want to go about it. I could go. I'll go Tusk and Rush. I may force a Terra. That's part of the reason why I haven't yet. So yeah, please, you can't knock me out. Okay, he ate. And now Draco spam is king. But he's already terrestrialized. Man, my zone is. So Golden goes Terra Water. It's annoying. He recovers again here. He has to. Yeah. See how much press does the thing will. Okay, 28%. Means he maybe dies to the next one. It doesn't matter if it doesn't. Okay, this is amazing. You should Shadow Ball probably doesn't knock me out. I love Pokemon so fucking much. I love this game. Shadow Ball might have killed still anyway. We're already kidding. I don't think so because I don't think he has any special attack investment. It's incredibly frustrating, but what are you gonna do? See, should have stayed in. This is incredibly frustrating. Is make it rain. But he's gonna Shadow Ball this turn. There's no reason not to. Have the option of Tusk here. By Nasty Pots. Yeah, that's actually good. You run this calc. What he's gonna try to do is sack Tusk. Oh, it's speed. That's lame. Okay, it being speed is a little problematic. To him, I'm pretty sure it's hard to say. I mean, he's taking nothing from my Headlong Rush. But yeah, being speed blows. And being speed blows. He needs the extra mon though. I'll U-turn here. It's always my best bet. Always my best bet. Would have been great if he got burnt that turn. I'd have won the game. I think just straight up. He's getting fortunate with the no burns. I need to be healthy enough to take on his. Let me see, U-turn here. The ice spinners does negative damage. And I have the Pult matchup versus Goldengos. Yeah, I want that. Can't Draco. So what he's gonna do is go D-Knight, but the problem with D-Knight is you can't kill me. So I Shadow Ball here. If you Dragon Dance, can't KO me. Unless his Scale Shot, I doubt. His Scale Shot, I would have lost the game anyway. So if his Scale Shot, my play would have been to go to Moltres. I'm faster. Okay, I figured, but I wasn't 100 on it. I wasn't 100 on it. And Specs Ball, I want to say, I can't even switch to Specs Ball. Guarantee chaos. But yeah, Claudia would have saved me. Claudia would not have saved me from that pesky ass Goldengo. Yeah, I didn't account for terrestrialization there. Claudia would have definitely saved me from Darkrai. So the Water Absorption King, Claudia might be good for like those psychic spam teams or something. I was just thinking if there's anything that I'm not accounting for. But you could see again, Stone Edge made a big difference there because him losing Moltres was huge. And Moltres that he puts all his laurels in. Rest all his laurels in. I don't know what Quasai runs. What would give Quasai a hard time? What would give the King of Claude Terra Dark? Remember what was in the tier when Terra Dark was a thing? It was like something. I could also see this running Gong Shot for very variant Goldengos, but Toxic is just too damn consistent. And Hattereens who feel like it's feeling froggy. I could see for Terra Grown Moths running like. I could definitely see maybe Dark. I don't know. Steel. It doesn't feel appropriate. I'm gonna grab one last game here, and this team will be down below. As I said, the teams are built in the battle, not in the team builder. So we go in, we play, we test. Go in. You know what I'm saying? All right, so Mousehold facing a Zapdos in this case. He has no Mousehold switching, but that Zapdos, that Zapdini, probably. But after I get rid of that Pop Bomb, we just Pop Bomb. Just popping bombs, you know what I'm saying? But he also is a user of the Claude. Alright, Claudie makes Dozo Zapdos insignificant. You know what's a pest to him? My Moltres. Big pest. I think if I burn his Claude, that means my Claude has the advantage. Something that's annoying is Hatarino. If I were to mouse hold and remove his Zapdos, I could use the mouse hold to lure in the Zapdos and kill it, but what does that free up for me afterwards? Not much. Really, it's Clodsire and Hooper is keeping my team away, because otherwise I just spec shot. It's not an easy game. Not from a standpoint of him even really having any offensive threats, though his Hooper is definitely at the top of the list. His Hooper is definitely at the top of the list. Hatterene's excellent. This guy's a beast. Excellent lead. You knew what to do. You knew what to do. I'm gonna scout to see what he has in store for me. If it's Mystical Fire, if it's Nuzzle, if it's things of that nature. It's Nuzzle. Okay. And he's AV. Potential. If it is AV, Mystical Fires here. If not, then we're seeing this Desire of the Clod. It's not a matchup I want. I could mouse hold. Mouse hold is perfect mid ground. If he Mystical Fires, he'll hurt, but it won't do enough. And then I threaten him out and see what his initial play is gonna be. Either gonna be Dozer or Zapdos. And if he's AV hat, then that's actually good news for my Clodsire. Connection is wonky. Very fat team. His sweeper is AV Hatterene. Very fat team. Very fat team. Okay. Question here is, do you go? Or do you go hard on Dozer? Or do you stand? Don't think you ever stand here. But if I were to go Dragapult on his Zapdos, Clodsire here again. The thing is that the Zapdos is literally doing nothing outside of stopping the mouse hole. Say those are his initial. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Which means that I mouse hole again on his hat. No, I pop bomb. He could go hard those, but because I've been maneuvering so deviously, I actually could just go for tidy up here. Oh, I got him. We got him. We got him. We got in his head, and he got me that Hatterene. We got in his head, man. We got in his head, man. He gave us that Hatterene for free, man. He's 1000% pivoting the Hooper here. It's just a matter of what do I want to do about that. Magnezone doesn't solve that. Zone's fine though, since Hurricane. Very interesting. Surprised by that, considering that now means that I get free bands. Free rocks, which was gonna punish that Hooper. This Clodsire is a problem now. This guy they call Cloddy, see that simple little face of his, is a problem now. I could have Toxic there, to be fair, but Psychic Noise probably doesn't do much. Moltres is key for some members, but nothing crazy. The Hyperspace Furies. Shoot. Sheesh. That boy is banded. Oh my lordy. For a choice banded boy. Pause. So we're gonna Stone Edge directly into those. This shit is not this shit might be specs. No, can't be specs. You took 47, you took 49. He's just some other item. I'm a max that you're not taking 49 at being specs. So he's definitely slower than me. I don't want to miss. Also don't want to Ice Spitter. My Tusk is really important. You're not taking 49 unless you're max defense. I did his Rocky Helmet, okay. So we get rid of those, which means I can headlong rush freely. And I can population bomb. Yo, that pop bomb is come freely. That bomb of populace on its way, my friend. So all I do here is go Moltres. I U-turn. No, we roost here. It could be Terrafire. It could be Terrafire. In which case, thinking if I care. Don't think it matters if there's Terrafire or not. But it's gonna matter what I terrestrialize. So I'll U-turn here. He body presses directly, which risks the burn. I could go Mouse Hold and Terra Ghost, but that would be too obvious. Be like, bro, obviously you're gonna fucking Terra Ghost. This might just crunch me. Whereas if I go Poltonator here, I think I can drop 2 Dracos and he's cooked. I really don't want to miss though. Really can't miss. I think I 2 KO him though. Yeah, the next Terra, because he's gonna crunch, it won't knock me out. And he's gonna feel safe. And I'll knock him out the second one. He might not. He might go Claudia. I doubt it. So now Mouse Soul just pop the bomb. I'm sweating. Oh, you already terrestrialized. What am I talking about? God, he Terra Dark. I forgot this guy was the young menace. Dozo could be a problem to KO since I'm a ghost type, so I'm always keep Magnezone hooked. And I'm gonna give him something to appease this swoop on bound because this thing says it needs all the victims. And what this does, it allows for me to population bomb directly into Dozo. Curious how much this does. So it was at 88. Does 5. It does about 50%. Jeez. This thing is so broken. This thing is so broken. Oh my lord. Oh my god. Mousehole, bro. You beating Dondozo? That's not moral. You just beat a Dondozo? That's immoral. That's immoral activity. That's immoral activity, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy. Alright, so hit the like button down below, guys. Check out the course. I did this for y'all. Look at this. And write a review. I really appreciate that. That way more people, because I've come to learn that more reviews. So write a review. Again, if you're a UI designer, reach out to me. I'd be really appreciative of that. And yeah, that's where we're gonna end it for today. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.